यदा यदा हि धर्मस्य
ब्रह्मादिभ्यो ब्रह्म विद्या संप्रदाय कर्तृभ्यो वंशऋषभ्यो महद्भ्यो नमो गुरुभ्यः सर्वोपप्लवरहित प्रज्ञान घन प्रत्यगर्थो ब्रह्माहमस्मि सोहमस्मि ब्रह्माहमस्मि ओम प्रपन्न पारिजाताय तोत्र वेत्रैकपाणये ज्ञानमुद्राय कृष्णाय Geethamritaduhe Namaha. May the Almighty Lord Venkateshwara bestow all kinds of prosperity, health, wealth and eternal happiness with Paripurna Lakshmi Katakshams to you and the entire your family members and friends. Let us begin Bhagavad Gita. So we are just completing the summary of 11th chapter. The last portion of 11th chapter, it has been divided into two divisions after verse number 35, 10 verses from verse number 36 to 45 or 46 even. So this is being described as the development of Arjuna's mentality. He is able to generate proper bhakti, the bhakti towards Virat Swarupa, because when he was terrified seeing the mouth of Bhagavan, and understanding the other side of Ishvara's glory as the Kala principle, as the death principle, as the tragedy principle, that which is nothing but Bhayankara Swarupam. But when God said, so everything is because of me, so death is nothing but is a normal phenomenon. Just you should grow to remove or sustain your ahankara and mamakara. You are getting fear, your physical and psychological system trembling because of not my reality, because your limited system that is not able to accept, because the ahankara and mamakara, they just become barrier for this complete acceptance. Therefore what? You have to work it for that. You have to work it for that means what? We have to have sadhanas. So all spiritual sadhanas in order to realize what is the limitation of ahankara and mamakara. If I say so, so nothing wrong in that. So our spiritual sadhana should work some kind of repair work with our own ahankara and mamakara. We are not going to change the world because world doesn't need any change being in the Swarupa of Ishvara. Therefore, the world is nothing but Ishvara. I have to develop my devotion. That devotion is being developed by Arjuna from verse number 36 to 46. Therefore, he begins Thane Hrishikesha Tava Prakirtya Jagat Prakharshyatyanurajyate cha Rakshamsi Bhitani Drishodravanti Sarve Namasyanti cha Siddha Sangha. Even when you begin a spiritual life, so that every day progress, it brings new understanding about the normal life and the incident, accidents and the people around us and the object around us. Everything will be enlightened. The knowledge about those objects will be understood properly after certain period of time. Now, many of us have the questions. Nowadays, there are less temples are being constructed, and many temples have been broken by invaders. We have lost so many temples, and we have also been looted by so many people. Even after being looted, we still have the glory of Ishvara in the form of various temples all over the India. Now in foreign countries, Indians are trying to construct the temple. At the same time, in India, we have to focus on all the temples. The temples have been taken care well, because They are the real assets of human being, I tell you. And the worship method also to be protected, because nowhere we can find this kind of adorable system, the infrastructure. So it is constructed, you can take any tantra, any kriya, any chanting, any mantra, all comes aligned with dharma and Ishvara concept. And you can put yourself wherever you want. You can fix properly if you are able to get a proper guru. You can make yourself align with the dharma and Ishvara concept. Then your life becomes very less the life of enlightenment. That's what the glory of our forefathers. And many people nowadays are constructing malls and shopping complex and so many other business center. Doesn't matter, because let them construct, but they should not think why the hell these forefathers had constructed so many temples. Every street there are so many temples. We need not to have the temples, because at the home also we have the temples, because there is a prayer hall, and every corner of the street there are temples, and a city has got huge temples. What for it? Not knowing the glory of the temple construction. And still every temple, it's an object for research in all aspects. If you are an architect, you have lot thing to get information from the temples. You go and see the South Indian temples or even North Indian temples. Certain temples are endowed with so many mystics and it's a wonderness. Even last 6 months ago, in the last trip, I had gone to Ajanta Ellora, and there one Kailasanatha temple, which was carved underneath. It's not carved from the bottom; it is carved from the top to bottom. So it's a complete temple, but it's not taken care very well. So government has made it's like a monument, like a museum. No. Temple means puja has to be there. Any religion, any nation, because this Rome, so there's Rome culture had gone, all the objects of those Rome cultures have been as a museum object. Our temples are not museums. Okay, our temples are alive. Our temples are the real living place. The temples are the place of Ishvara, the temple where we are rejuvenated. We respect for a gym, A gym, when you establish a gym, you provide lots of equipments and so many, work, the inner decoration have been done. It is done with lots of expenditures. Why can't you take care of a temple? So temple needs to be taken care of very well. Though government now is taking care very well, but public should become aware. That too, the followers of Sanatana Dharma should realize their duty to protect the temples. Nowadays, it's being discussed. The temples might be given to private, people. That can be a kind of solution, but still the public should become aware about their duties. They should also contribute some, not money. I'm not talking about money. It's kind of, contributing your effort, contributing your attention, contributing your care, so that we can construct a proper society. The temple helps us to construct a proper society. We should understand duty means what, Swamiji? The responsibility of every parent to take children to temple. The parent should practice it. So once they are returning from America, they lose the interest to go to temple. But if they stay there at least for more than 20 years, they will realize the glory of temples. Nowadays it is happening. But those 20 years, their children will grow enough and they won't listen to the parents' words. So that I say, from young age, take all children. Our children must be given proper infrastructure. Therefore, this temple is the place where you can develop devotion. In the matter of Arjuna, he is able to gain that immediate Divya Drishti and all because he was brought up like that. He was not brought up like us. So bringing children up is very important duty. In order to bring Shastrajnaha, the knowledge of Shastra, to be imparted to the children's mind. That's our parents' duty. In the third things, he is able to understand why this much temples have been created by our forefather. Now he could feel or he could understand they are meaningful. And how many chantings, mantras, and how many varieties of sadhanas and tapas, japa, mantras. Not only that, yajna, yaga, puja, method. So everything is being enlightened by, because all of them are becoming aligned for his understanding. Now he is able to segregate everything. Whatever the knowledge he learned, he is able to connect with them with the concept of Vishwarupa Darshana, Virat Rupa Darshana. That's what we need. We have to grow ourselves. When you set the devotion, the mind becomes expanded on. So when your mind expands, your raga dvesha means what? Likes and dislikes is due to only the limitation. The experience of limitations, that I am only in this body, I am limited person, I am alpajnaha, a limited knower, I am alpashaktiman, I am limited capable person. So that makes that identification ourselves with ahankara and mamakara makes or brings misery to our life. That has to be expanded, the understanding with Lord, in Virat Rupa, Vishwa Rupa Darshana. When you work with your ahankara and mamakara, so that subsidies, then the Virat Swarupa is being accepted by ourself. Then heaven can be felt and experienced here in itself, and also he just, himself just revealing all the factors. Now I could feel they are meaningful. So whatever the meaningful things have been given, so that has to be taken care, that has to be followed properly. This is what his understanding. Then still his mind was going to the mouth of Lord. It becomes terrified again and again, because the human mind is a temporary Divya Drishti, as I told you in the last session itself. Now he started requesting, please, I would like to get back your normal Rupa with, Shankha Chakra Krita Dhari. Then Bhagavan listens to that. How can we understand these things, So when you are not mature enough, your mind is not expanded, so as it requires for Virat Rupa Darshana. So that safe thing is you can go back to Eka Rupa Bhakti. So you can live with your own God, that your God only in the temple. Let the God only in the temple. Let the God only in my prayer room. Let the God only in Shastra. So let the God to be worshipped in a particular time, because my mind is not ready to accept the time 24 into 7 hours are nothing but God. So God means every single second is nothing but God. Every hour is nothing but God. Whether all planets, there is sun, moon, and all Mars, etc. planets, Navagrahas, all Adidevatas, Pratyade Devatas, let them be in their own name, but all of them are connected with Ishvara's concept. If I'm not able to accept, better let me be only endowed with my Ishtarupa Devata, means my Ishta Devata, the Devata which form, that too limited form, that too the convenient for me only human form, because I feel comfort enough. Therefore he requested in that way. Bhagavan also he has given, and from verse number 47, Bhagavan glorifies Arjuna's ability, so that the fortune of Arjuna was also glorified, And Bhagavan also glorifies Virat Rupa Darshana. It's very rare, even people who live with tapasic life and who study Vedanta and who also practice charity and who also endowed with lots of tantrika activities, they cannot see, because very rare this opportunity is, because Dashavatara doesn't have Vishwarupa Darshana. Okay, so Dashavatara is something different. So Krishna is one among those Dashavatara, but Vishwarupa Ishvara is not put into, it cannot be kept in Dashavatara. Because any avatara, it needs long term, it requires a condition. It requires condition means it requires a condition. Yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata abhyuthanam adharmasya tadatmanam srijamyaham. There should be a condition. But here, this Vishwarupa Darshana requires only one condition, that to the devotee's mind. The mind which is endowed with purity, the mind which has got Chadhana Chatushtaya Sampattihi, the mind which has become matured enough by doing or following Karma Yoga. That's what only is needed. When you have got that maturity, then again Vishwarupa Darshana will happen. Because Vishwarupa Ishvara remain forever. We have to get matured to see him, to understand him, to realize him. Now Arjuna got back again to be comfort with normal Ishvara Darshana. But Bhagavan still continues and he talks about the glory. That was the last part. And even in the last few verses, Bhagavan talks about bhakti. Especially in the last two verses, Bhagavan brings the glory of bhakti. He says, Bhaktya tvananyaya shakyaha aham evam vidhorjuna jnatum drashtum cha tattvena prapeshtum cha parantapa. So only by having ananya bhakti alone it is possible. Now, so for an avatara, so among these all avatara, so one avatara is because of Prahlada's incident. That too, it seems to be a temporary incident. No, it becomes a solid avatara. But here, whenever you want to get Vishwarupa Darshana, so if you are matured enough, just you can see. So once you have understood what is Vishwarupa Darshana, then that Darshana need not to get lost. You need not to get separated with that. You just continue to be a Virat Bhakta. That Virat Bhakta means what? For him, he considers his body, mind and sense complex also is a part of the world. So I am the consciousness means what? He can see and enjoy and experience only Ishvara. Then he is the eligible person for the forthcoming chapters. The chapter which is going to deal with equation between Tat and Tvam Padartha. The Tattvamasi has been completed now with this chapter. So only one chapter which remains is known as Bhakti Yogaha. Bhakti Yogaha is the explanation about only this shloka. What is Ananya Bhakti? That's what the explanation. The whole Bhakti Yogaha, I think there are 20 verses. 20 verses are just in the form of explanation of this one word, Ananya Bhakti. This one word is given explanation in the last words of 11th chapter. Matkarma krunmat paramo madbhakta sangha varjitaha nirvaira sarva bhot esho yasamameti pandava. How to practice, how to bring, how to experience the Ananya Bhakti. Now, Ekarupa Bhakti, now it's known as Ananya Rupa Bhakti. There are two kinds of Bhakti, Advaita Bhakti, which is going to be narrated in the chapter number 13. But even this Bhakti Yoga will introduce what is the three kinds of Bhakti. So Bhakti means, again I am repeating, you have to keep in your mind, Ekarupa Bhakti is the first step. The second is Anekarupa Bhakti or Vishwarupa Bhakti or Virat Bhakti is the second stage. And the third stage which is known as Advaita Bhakti or Arupa Bhakti. So now he has introduced in this last verse. He said, Mat karma krita, the person who works for me. I have given a broad explanation for this verse. Okay. Mat karma krita, mat paramaha, mat bhaktaha, sangha varjitaha, nirvairaha sarva bhuteshu yassa mameti pandava. Mat karma krit, mat paramaha, mat bhaktaha. So all those words we have seen the meaning. And sangha varjitaha, the person who is detached with his own ahankara and mamakara. That I have told, mat karma means the person who is endowed with karma yoga, and mat paramaha means who is desirer of moksha, mumukshuhu, and mat bhakta means Vedanta practitioner, and sangha varjita means the inner sannyasa. Then nirvairaha means that is jnana phalam, means prayojanam. So you may be a little bit hazy, means you may be a little bit vague about this meaning of this 55th verse. It will take time to understand for us, because the next chapter it will glorify for us. Okay, so let us complete this with that. Let us begin this Bhakti Yoga today itself. Just we will utter the shloka. Om Shri Krishnaya Paramatmane Namaha. Athadvadashodhyayah Bhakti Yoga. Arjuna Uvacha Yevam Satata Yuktaye Bhaktas Tvam Paryupasate Ye Chapyaksharam Avyaktam Tesham Ke Yoga Vittamaha. Now Bhakti means what? Bhakti is the transaction. I have already told. Bhakti is a transaction. That is what the first understanding we should have. Because we are doing that in the name of Bhakti, we just do business with the Ishvara, isn't it? So go and see in all temples what is going on. If you have got a capacity to listen to all the prayers which are being submitted in front of the God, you will become mad. Because many people, not all of us, we look at Bhagavan as the object which we desire. Somebody looks Bhagavan as a car, somebody looks Bhagavan as a house, somebody looks Bhagavan as the money, somebody looks Bhagavan as a success in his life. So like for them, they are just connected with their goal. Very rare, minimum people are connected with a real form of the Bhagavan. Now Bhakti means the transaction is happening. That transaction also, there are varieties of transaction. Now you should learn to convert this transaction into the high level transaction. What is that high level transaction? So you have to be experienced, the standard, high standard businessman in Bhakti. Swamiji, why you are talking about like this? Bhakti is not the business. Of course, it is a business alone. You may wonder when I say you accept it first. You have to accept the reality. Yes, it's a business. I need security. Because I am lacking of security. I thought this world will give security because I was not informed in the young age. If a person is being informed in the young age itself, what you are looking for from this worldly object, they are not there. Nobody told us. Just we were chasing for our security and pleasure. Shastra alone talks about it. What you need is security and pleasure. No education, no other education talks about it. It fixes the goal. You have to achieve, you have to achieve, you have to achieve. You have to prove to the world. You have to prove to the family. You have to prove to yourself. What the hell is life called? That's not our life. The life is something different. That life is not the business at all. I'm talking about inner growth of the life. I'm not condemning any system outside which is on. We have to accept, yes, we need to have security. For that purpose alone, I come in front of the Lord. I crave for the object, and even I am not taught how to present the prayer. I started begging that I need that, I need that, I need that. I'm not asking the security because I think if I get this object, if I get the house, I will be secure. If I'm intelligent enough, I should have asked directly the security from you. But as how idiot we are. But we think ourselves very intelligent. I'm going to begin a business. Please, hey Bhagavan, bless me. Instead of asking that, we have to ask what? Bless me as a secured person. Provide the security and provide the pleasure. That's what the prayer should be. We don't know how to act in the form of bhakti because we are confused regarding bhakti. Therefore, we have to analyze what exactly the bhakti is. Is it proper transaction? Is it a proper business? Or is it beyond the business? That we will just, with the anugraha of Lord Venkateshwara, proceed from next session tomorrow. See you. Hari Om. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaja Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.